Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to start the Rainstick today. So you are going to need your thickness sticks, your canvas, you're going to need that quarter of clay that I put in a bag for you. I took kind of one big section off of it, okay? So you don't need the whole thing, not quite in half, about 3/4 of it, okay? So you're going to need that. You're going to need your paper towel or toilet paper stick, rolls, piece of newspaper, and you're going to find a small piece of white paper in there that's actually a template for you. So you're going to need all of that stuff. Okay, so we're going to start by wedging our clay, just like we normally do. You might put it into a ball first, and I know you guys have canvas that moves around, so you won't be able to wedge it quite as good as I do. Or not as fast as I do. You can definitely do it as good as I do. So we want to do that a minimum of 20 times. Remember, if it's getting long on you, you're going to want to pound it on its sides. Okay, and we're going to be rolling this piece of clay out to this paper size right here. So before I start, remember I'm going to want to kind of pat it into that shape before I start. You can use a rolling pin or something like that to kind of pat it out if you want. But if you just start rolling, you're just going to get a great big rectangle, long rectangle, and it's not going to fit. Sorry, I know it's kind of wiggling around. Okay, so this is pretty close. So I'm going to grab a rolling pin. Remember, you guys have all kinds of stuff at home that you can use for this. So just because you don't have a rolling pin doesn't mean you can't roll out a slab. You guys have already done it. Now, I don't know if you remember, but remember when you are rolling slabs, it's really important to flip it over, see what's going on in the back. Make sure that there's no dents or cracks or anything like that. Remember to always give it a little bit of room to grow, so don't put your thickness sticks right up against the edge. And look at this, already it's bigger, and that's what I want. Because if it's too small, I have to start all over. Remember, you don't want a big lump in the middle either. So make sure you roll out that middle nice and good. Okay, so this is way bigger than we needed. So maybe we did only need half of it. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the middle, and I am going to cut around it. Nice and straight. Remember, you want to put this excess clay right back in the bag, especially since this is nice new stuff. For any other slabs or anything we might want to do. Okay, so this is going to go right back in the bag. Okay, we can take this off. We don't really need that anymore. I'm just going to shape my sides a little bit. That kind of worked out. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we got to get our armature going here. Okay, so you guys have a piece of paper, and what you're going to do is you're going to put this in the middle, and you're going to roll this around it. Shouldn't need any tape or anything like that. And then the ends just get stuck down in there. Okay. You're also going to need your slip, and you're going to need your fork. Slip open, I can move these, find my fork, okay, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to roll this around this, not toilet paper, paper towel roll. Oh, one thing on the paper towel rolls too, some of them I had to take toilet paper rolls and I had to tape them together, so if they're crooked or they came untaped, make sure that you put them back and tape them up really good. Okay, so we're kind of making clay do something that it doesn't want to do. So take your time, just kind of gently stretch it around, kind of getting the edges nice and neat. I'm actually gonna flip it this way so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just kind of pushing the edges in. Okay, if you get cracks and stuff here, you want to smooth it out. Okay, so you can kind of see it almost fits perfectly. Might have to stretch it a little bit. If it's not quite long enough, you can roll it, and that will kind of stretch it out. Okay, so now I'm going to slip and score these two together. So, I don't know why I got two knives out. I'm going to score. And don't use hardly any slip at all because we don't want it to be too gooey or it's just going to fall apart. But we do need to score it a little bit. So just a little bit of slip. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to pinch this together. Okay, so I'm just kind of pinching and smearing. No coil needed. Just kind of pinching and smearing. Okay, then I'll go back and I'll get it nice and smooth. You guys should have a rib in your tools. So let me see if I can find my rib. There it is. And it will say rib on it. So a suggestion would be to use your rib to get it all nice and smooth. Okay, now this kind of needs to set out, and it's actually a little bit longer than what I want it. I want the top of my paper towel roll actually sticking out. So I'm just going to put the knife and kind of cut, and I'm going to roll. Move my slip here. I'm just cutting a little section off. And I could have done that before I put this together. Probably would have been easier. Okay. Okay, so now I have a little bit of this sticking out, and that's good. That's what I want. So now I'm just gonna work on getting it. So don't mess with it too much. You know, you wanna mess with it enough to kind of smooth it out, but don't be rolling and handling it too much because what happens is it gets bigger and bigger. Also tends to get bigger and bigger at the bottom. And we kind of need to let it set up a little bit. So what I would do now, right now it's really hot and windy outside, so probably not a good day to leave it outside. But in the house, you could leave this unbagged for 2 hours, okay? Once it's been out for 2 hours, you should be able to open this up. You may have to rip it a little bit, okay? So show you what it looks like. I just kind of undid that paper. And now this will come in and out really easily. This little inside part will come out very easily, okay? So once this is set up, I can pull this out and I can bag my piece. Right now it's still really wet. It needs to sit for about 2 hours before you're gonna wanna take it off, okay? So just work on getting it a little bit smooth. And then again, you can go back, rip this paper, and this will come right out. Okay, but it needs to sit for 2 hours, and then we'll go on from there. All right, good luck, guys.